5 useful ways to utilize your free time. Nowadays everyone is busy with something. But being busy doesn't mean we're using our time efficiently. It's sad to say this, but most people waste their time on unnecessary stuff. And time is our most valuable resource. We can't make more of it like we can make money, so it's wise to use our time in a way that benefits us. When we're bored, what do we usually do? Most of us upend being stuck to a phone, TV, our computer. That might lower our boredom at that moment, and we might not even consider that time to be wasted. But there's an opportunity. That time could have been spent on a different, more valuable activity. Specifically on something that benefit us extremely in the future. This is why in this video I'll tell you 5 things that will help lower your boredom, and teach you to use your free time more productively. 1. Planning and setting up your goal. Most people often forget why they're pursuing something in the first place. While some may not even be sure what they're supposed to be doing in their daily life. This lack of direction then often shows up as boredom. That's why having goals is most important. They are like a guide that guides you forward. Also, they provide you with the enthusiasm and motivation to get stuff done. If you don't have a list of goals yet, now is the perfect time to make one. Setting up goals is fun and you get a nice dopamine rush when you imagine yourself achieving them. But if you don't want that your goal to just be a wish, you need to create a plan on how you are going to reach it. It's been well studied that when you plan out your goals, you're more likely to follow through and achieve them. But it's also essential that you write down them, on a piece of paper, and not just leave them floating somewhere in your mind. You see, your brain likes to filter out things that it considers less important. When you write down your plans, you're using more regions of your brain, giving the information more influence and importance. This means you are more likely to recall it and follow through. Plus you give some structure to the information, so it's not just a pile that's flying around inside your brain. Similarly, a physical list will serve as a visual reminder. Every time you look at it, you will be remembered of what you're supposed to be doing and why you are doing it in the first place. I love going through the list that I made in the past because I can see how much progress I have made so far. And it usually reignites the spark to continue grinding forward. So try it out for you, and set up some goals and plans for the future. 2. Reading. Reading is very boring. Many people dislike it because when they were younger they were forced to read. Mainly in school, they were mostly given books that were not that interesting. This made people hate reading. But when you have an option to freely choose which book you're going to read, you will understand why it's enjoyable. When you have an interesting topic, books become more exciting and fun. Not only do they help ease your boredom, but they're also one of the best ways to expand your knowledge. This will give you a massive competitive advantage, especially if you read books about a particular field you're working in. There is a reason why most of the people that make it to the top read a lot more than the average person. They're able to develop skills and gain knowledge that they otherwise wouldn't have. Or this would take them longer to get to that level on their own. This is why whenever I go somewhere, whether it's a doctor's appointment or somewhere else where I know that I will have to wait, I always carry a book with me. And when I look around the room, most of the people are just scrolling on their phones, browsing social media, or watching videos. I have nothing against that, it's all your choice. But if you are looking to get ahead in your life, you might want to stop scrolling and start reading. Most people don't read anything after they've finished school. This is why reading just a few books can be a massive advantage for you. I recommend finding books that will help you to understand the world around you, and those that expose you to new ideas and philosophies. Books such as self-development, social skills, human behavior, and finance. The book I think everyone should read is Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend you do. 3. Improve or learn a new skill. Education does not end when you finish school. And it's not limited to the classroom either. You will find that the most accomplished people in the world are those who never stop learning. They're constantly enhancing their skills and getting new knowledge. So when you don't know what to do with your free time, that's a perfect opportunity to try something new. When we get to experience something new, we manage to get a surge of motivation, as long as we find the activity enjoyable. And it doesn't matter if it's learning to draw, or learning a new instrument. This motivation and positive mood can spread to other areas of our lives. Other activities that usually aren't as enjoyable tend to become more fun as well because we're in a better mood. In other words, you can take the momentum you get from this novel experience and take it to other areas. Of course, whenever you're learning something, it's very beneficial to have a good teacher who can stimulate your progress. So flavor up your day a little bit, and explore something new. You never know when this extra knowledge might come helpful. 4. Exercise. Exercise is something that everyone knows is good and should be done frequently, but for some reason not everyone does it. Most of the people who do exercise look better in the mirror. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a nice side effect. But there's another reason why you should exercise, and why I'm motivated to do it personally. It improves our brain functioning. When we do exercise, our brain releases a cocktail of neurotransmitters, which balance our mood. Serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, etc. They make us feel good while reducing anxiety and depression. But our brain also releases called a brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This protein supports the survival of our brain neurons while boosting the growth of new synapses. Another way exercise benefits us is by helping us disconnect from external stimuli. Nowadays, when we feel tired for even just a few minutes, we very quickly reach for our phones. We're constantly encouraging our brains with external distractions, and we never give our minds a proper break. But have you ever noticed that when you take a shower, you suddenly have a ton of new ideas? You're thinking about life, processing your day, creating plans for the future, etc. It's not the shower that does this. It's you finally disconnecting from all the external world. You step off your mind's gas pedal. Instead of taking in new data, you're letting your brain process existing information. And exercise helps you do that. It allows you to properly disconnect from that external world. So if you're bored and have some time to spare, leave your phone at home and go for a long walk. You just might return with some inspirations and ideas you didn't have before. 5. Clean up your room. Take a look around you right now. Chances are that the space you're in is far from clean. You might like to change that, as our physical environment has a huge impact on our awareness, behavior, and decision-making. When our surroundings are a mess. But once we remove all this visual trash from our environment, we're able to focus and process information much better. Because fewer things are competing for our attention. Now I know that it can be difficult to bring yourself to even begin cleaning. Often we dread beginning because the place is a complete mess. And we know that we have to clean the whole thing at once, which of course can be a lot of work. But you shouldn't aim for glowing clean. Instead, you should just go for slightly cleaner. Clean up the carpet. Throw those scraps into the trash. Arrange all the papers laying around. Organize your workspace a little bit. It might not be perfect, but it's much better than it was before, which is the most important part. Remember, you're not trying for perfectly clean. Just cleaner. Now if you're sitting on the couch right now, with a phone glued to your face, and you don't feel like moving at all, then at least clean up your phone. Clean up your phone's gallery and remove the apps you don't use. If you haven't used them for months, you possibly won't need them in the future. And if you do, you can always reinstall them. You can also do this on your computer, by cleaning up some of the files or your desktop. Or maybe more importantly for some of you, clean up your browser search history. So these were the 5 activities I believe are a good use of your time. Do you agree or disagree with my picks? Let me know in the comment box below. I hope that when you're bored and feel like you have nothing to do, you pick at least one of the things that I listed. Remember, time is our most valuable resource. You don't want to let it go to waste. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel. I hope you learned something new today.